Now if I zoom out here and I make my brush size really large and I start sculpting on here, you're going to see, let's make my brush size even bigger, you're going to see my original resolution of my sphere was actually even better than the result I'm getting now. And again, if I make my brush size smaller, I'm getting higher resolution. I make it even smaller, it's getting even more resolution. So you're going to see not only does dynamic tessellation, which is what this is doing, it's just called dynamic tessellation. It's tessellating, triangulating the geometry underneath your brush stroke on the fly. It's also able to decimate at the same time, which means removing geometry. In order to show this a little bit better, what we can do is we can hold down Shift, and again that goes into the smooth brush mode. And Sculptris Pro is turned on with the smooth brush as well. So if I hold down Shift and smooth and make my brush size really big, you're going to see we can actually, all this detail, we can smooth out really quickly because we're going to basically decimate that geometry. And then if we make our brush size small, we can tessellate that geometry as well. So we're doing a combination of tessellation and decimation at the same time, depending on our brush settings. Now we're going to go way deeper into the brush settings that you're able to do in global and specific to the brush and all sorts of settings that you can do for this tessellation and decimation. But just to keep this really basic right now, we'll go ahead and call this effect, the ability to tessellate and decimate, we'll call it tessimation. So if I zoom out here, turn off my polyframe, and let's go ahead and go into our brush. So I'm going to hit the B key, as in boy, and that'll bring up our brush menu. Then I'm going to hit the S key. That'll narrow it down to all the brushes that start with the letter S. And you're going to see H is snake hook, so you can either hit H or you can just tap this key right here. And now let's go ahead and use the snake hook brush with Sculptris Pro mode turned on. So if we turn the polyframe button on again or hit Shift F, you're going to see as we pull out of our object, it's automatically tessellating the geometry on the fly. So I can continue just pulling this geometry out, and it's constantly updating this geometry as I move it around. Now if you go over to the move brush, that's going to be BMV to grab the move brush. You're going to see I have a hotkey assigned to the move brush, Alt W. The move brush isn't going to have tessellation turned on. You're going to see it's grayed out. That's one of those brushes where Sculptris Pro mode isn't going to work. But what you can do is switch over to snake hook and then use that to tessellate on the fly as you pull these strands out. Now you're going to see we have a little separation over here. That's where the tessellation got so large that it wasn't able to maintain that form. To avoid that, what you can do is make your brush size smaller, and that'll of course increase your resolution. You can also use this as a feature. If you hold down Shift, you can smooth out your object. If you tap S and then make your draw size bigger, you're going to be able to smooth and decimate at the same time. And if you keep smoothing through your object, it'll actually separate out those objects and you can get rid of them completely. So you have a bunch of details on your object you want to get rid of. You can go ahead and just make your brush size pretty big and then hold down Shift and just smooth all of that detail out. And again, if you make it really big, you can very quickly just get your object way back to where you started, just a nice smooth sphere, and then make your brush size smaller, and then start sculpting in or using your snake hook to create your new forms. Now again, let's drag this undo slider all the way back to where we just have a sphere. There we go. So it's a polymesh 3D. We can also tap X to go across X symmetry. That's going to be transform, activate symmetry. If you hit the X key, that's going to toggle symmetry on and off. So you can have X symmetry turned on. If you want to orient yourself in space a little bit better, what you can do is turn on your floor, and you're going to see, generally speaking, you're going to want Z forward, this little blue line at the bottom of your floor. You want that to be the forward part of your object, and then the green line, which you can't really see here, that's pointing straight up, that's Y up. So with X symmetry turned on and our object sitting on the floor and the blue line coming out forward, we can start sculpting on our object.